What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And welcome to a live stream we're having tonight. We're talking about goal setting 2025. Let me make sure all this stuff connected right quick. Y'all bear with me 1 second. Want to make sure everything here is connected. Okay, cool. I got that together. Let me make sure. Bear with me 1 second. I'm streaming on several different platforms at the same time, so I want to make sure everything is connected fine. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. I got my annual show, How to Goal Setting for 2025. You know, each year annually, I do a live feed where I discuss how to set your goals for the current year. You know, so you can make sure that everybody goes to the same thing every year where they do their New Year's resolutions. They say different things that they want to get done, but then they hit November, December, and they start looking back and nothing ever got accomplished, right? So what I want to do is give my foolproof plan that I've, give to use for myself and give to any one of my clients on how to set goals, realistic goals, and how to set a solid plan to make sure that happens. So you use it as far as with your life, you can use it with your business. Regardless, if you use these ideas and this plan that I give you guys in regards to how to set your goals for 2025, I'm not saying everything will, fall into place, but they give you a realistic blueprint on how to set everything and to put them in the right direction. Because far too often people set goals, and like I always say, anything that isn't written down, anything you just say out loud, you can't be accountable for it. It's really just a dream. But when you have an actual solid plan on how to make certain things fall into place, it's usually easy to accomplish. Okay. So again, tonight we're talking about how to set your goals for 2025. I'm streaming live right there on my other YouTube channel as well, Changing Lives, hosted by Deonte Burden. So I'm doing a podcast between both platforms. And again, tonight we're talking about how to set your reach your goals for 2025. I'm streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. Again, on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. How to set your goals for 2025. Well, first, I hope everybody had a super dope happy new year for 2025. Had a great Christmas. Had a great new year. I'm still at the crib. I will be back in Misfits media, radio, TV with Lab Marie next week. So this is the last week I'm gonna be doing everything from here. So I'll be back in the lab next week. But this is I'm probably do a couple more live feeds, but actually we'll be back in the studio next Thursday for with Misfits Radio. But this is the show that I do every year in regards to talking about how to set your goals 2025. And one of the things I always want to say, like with goals, the reason why a lot of times people don't reach their goals because again they don't have the proper blueprint in place. And there are two things. Well, before we get started, man, I want to give shout out to all the people that was hurt in Las Vegas and also in New Orleans with the tragedies that happened. Also, man, me being a disabled vet myself and everything like that, I'm real big on helping veterans and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell going on with these guys were doing it. Don't have no idea what was going on between their ears with the things they done. But again, my heart goes out to the people that lost their lives, people that have been injured with the tragedies in Las Vegas and Nevada. And I also want to give a big shout out to my homegrown Georgia Bulldogs. Hey man, we fell short last night, but y'all know I'm 150% Georgia Bulldogs fan. Shout out to Coach Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs, and we'll be back in the thick of it next year, man. But I'm super proud of those Bulldogs. I bleed red and black, and I'm excited to see what we'll do next year, man. We're just gonna go and, stick it in the sand. We'll take our loss, from last night and everything. We'll move forward. But with that said, getting to the night show, we're talking about how to set your goals 2025. Let me make sure because I'm scrolling between more than one platform at a time right now. Two things, guys, when we start talking about it, and I see everybody on the different platforms. Remember, the main hub is the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. It's Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. We have over 1,000 videos covering personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, investing. We have active grants playlist with over 150 different grant opportunities. We just released the January 2025 small business grant video. I'll make a video on TikTok to let you guys know to go to the YouTube channel and check that out as well. Also stream live on my other YouTube channel, Changing Lives, where we talk about personal development, personal growth, mentorship, parenting. And again, that's Changing Lives, hosted by Deonte Burden. I put the the link to each one in the feed with everything. But if you're looking at us on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, you won't be able to see that. But again, all thing you got to do is Google Mr. Short Dollar, and you'll be able to get it. You'll have access to all the information there. So again, we started talking about, goal setting for 2025. Two things, guys, I always start off with, just say to make sure any goal, just the root of any goal, because everybody has aspirations of things they want to achieve and things they want. But two things that goals have to be. When you start saying goals, and this is what I want to reach, let me get my big head into the camera. Goals have to be incremental and attainable. Two things again. Goals have to be incremental and attainable. So what do I mean by incremental and attainable? Incremental will mean that for you to achieve that goal, you have to take certain steps and do certain things, to be able to achieve that goal. That means you just step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's a process to get it done. And attainable means it's realistic, right? What I mean by realistic, far too often people say, well, if you believe you can achieve it. No, hell, unless you're a damn magician, like to say, hey, I want to make $1 million in 1 year, and you don't have any kind of revenue or anything like that to accomplish that, that's not going to happen. But if you have the capacity to sit here and say, well, listen, I can, make $100,000 a month, will give me 1.2 million at the end of the year. But if I do make X amount of money each day, X amount of money each week, and then I make that $100,000 at the end of the month, totaling that, right? That right there will put me on track to make $1 million. And then you have things in place to be able to generate that revenue on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And then you hit that at the end of the year. That's an actual true plan. But if you don't have anything to be able to generate that, that's not an attainable goal, right? So we got to sit here and be real with ourselves and with certain stuff, not just put stuff out in the atmosphere that you know you cannot achieve. Not because you're sitting there calling yourself, selling yourself short, but it's just not a realistic goal. So again, goals got to be two things. Remember that, guys. Incremental. Well, again, you got to take steps to get them, and attainable. That means it's just a realistic goal, right? And when we start going through the whole process of, just say, listen, I want to start setting my goals for the year. Be realistic about when we start talking about these goals. How many you want to have in a year? Do you have the wherewithal? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the ability to take on 5 or 6 goals? Right? Do you have, the knowledge base, financial, or whatever it takes in regards to the goals you're trying to do? Do you have the capacity to do that? And just be realistic. So before we get started with just putting in the goals, I'm going to give you the plan and that you have to have in place to actually start, getting the goals out. And the first thing you want to do is understand that this is a process. Wrong one built in one night, and you ain't gonna be able to achieve all the goals that you set for yourself and in one overnight either. So you have to, number one, start off knowing that it's a process. It's a process. It's gonna take steps. It's gonna, you have to be willing to be disciplined enough to get everything in place, right? So number one, understand it's a process. Now, what I tell people is first, when we start talking about setting our goals for the year, and I know we're a couple of days into it, but sit down, get yourself in a good space where you can, get your feng shui together and you got everything that, you sit and nobody around, you cut the TV off. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in one sitting. It can be over a couple of days, a week or whatever, but just get where you can just, write everything down. You're just starting to jot all these different goals you want to have. And I call it just a free fall. Like when we was in grad school, we talked a lot about when we go through that whole brainstorming process, we do the free fall where we're just listing all these different things, right? Just don't worry about if you can or can't or things like that. But even though I say our goals have to be incremental and attainable, when we start the whole process of goal setting, we got to just start listing. And we'll get to the point of can they be incremental and attainable, right? But we want to take the thinking part of it out first. So first, you just want to start just free fall, writing down all your goals, writing down everything down, no restrictions. Like I said, take some time, maybe a couple of days or whatever, just jot everything down, right? And then after you got to the point, like, cool, and that could be 5 things, 20, 30, 40, however what it is. We'll go through the list and get everything squared away. But you just get yourself in a good space where you can just get everything in, okay? Make sure I got the mic straight. Y'all bear with me 1 second. Okay. After you get to that point, you take a few days or whatever to do everything. You just review your list. Do your goals, and that when you're reviewing that list, you're going to ask those 2 questions. The things that you wrote down on your list, do they fall in that opening criteria what we talked about? Are they things that you do on incremental? And are they attainable? And be honest. Be honest. Going through that list, all the stuff you wrote down, is incremental and is attainable. Guys, one thing, I know a lot of people coming in and out. Remember, you can go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube, and look at the Goals 2025 video in its full entirety. So if you do have to leave, don't trip, don't worry about anything like that. You can go on YouTube, check the whole video out in its full entirety. Also, the video will be on my other YouTube channel, Change the Lives, hosted by Deonte Burden. So don't trip if you got to walk, if you have to leave, you got to take your bathroom break or anything like that. You can't. The video is still out there on the YouTube channel, right? So again, we got our list. We did the free fall. We wrote down all the things we want to do. Took us some time. We got in a good headspace, wrote everything down. And then from that point, we looking over the list saying, okay, do it fall in those 2 criteria, right? Is it incremental and is it attainable? Is it incremental and is it attainable? Guys, if you got any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Let me know if you got any questions, anything like that. If you need me to repeat anything, just let me know, okay? But just, again, we did the free fall. We wrote down all the things we want to do. I want to lose weight. I want to make some money. I want to get a new car. I want to move. I want to dance. I want to whatever. We done wrote all that stuff down, right? Gave ourselves some time to get all that stuff down. The next thing we want to do is just see if it falls in those 2 criteria we stated earlier. Is it incremental and is it attainable? All right. Remove all items that don't fall into those criteria. Right? Are they unrealistic and are they unattainable? Are they unrealistic and are they unattainable? Not unattainable because you're just quitting, but being unattainable because you don't have the capacity to make it happen, right? So those are two things that we're looking for right then and there with that. See if they fall into those two criteria, right? Are they incremental and are they attainable? All right. If they aren't, remove them from the list. And make sure that they're attainable and realistic and reachable in a certain time frame, right? So what I say is we're writing 2025 goals, right? Now, some things that you may start on this year may roll over to 2026, right? They may be big projects that you want to take on. Hold on one second. They may be big projects that you want to take on. They may extend, further into the year. So those, but for the most part, we're talking about 2025 goals. So we just want to make sure that what we're writing down, we can do it on front. They're incremental, they're attainable, but we also can roll them out through 2025. And I'm going to give you, the steps and ideas on how to do all that kind of stuff. But we want to make sure that we can realistically get that stuff done during the time period that we're talking about now. Okay, just kind of keep that in mind, right? So we start talking about, okay, we got the goals, we got these lists down, we got these bundle of ideas we want to do. Went through, chopped them up. Are they incremental? Are they attainable? We removed them, right? So now we got the 4 or 5 things, and there may be more. I'm just saying, for explanation purposes, it might be 4 or 5 things. Now we want to start the whole implementation phase. We want to start the whole implementation phase of mapping it out and getting everything putting where we can move forward with it. Okay. The first step for us is the implementation phase. Now, like I say, guys, if you got any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat or anything like that. Okay, just feel free to ask. But when we start the implementation phase, step 1 is for each goal, write down what tasks are needed to make that happen. Right. And I want you guys to be detailed as possible. So if you say I want to lose 20 pounds, I got to work on my diet. I got to work out so many times or whatever. If I want to save $10,000, I got to, put in so much money a month. I got, because you know how much money you have as a discretionary income. We're doing that. We want to set ourselves up to go on a cruise at the end of the year. How much money we need to have by these certain deadlines. Write down all the stuff you need to do to make those particular things happen. Again, we're talking about the implementation phase. Okay. When we start doing that, you got to be as detailed as possible. The reason why you got to be as detailed as possible, because when you try to start making plans, you don't want to have assumptions on things that you can't do this without this being done. But if we have all the information that has to be put in place, we don't miss anything, right? So be as detailed as possible. One thing you got to understand when you're setting goals and setting plans and stuff, guys, being honest is not being negative. Again, I say being honest is not being negative. So just because you put down the actual stuff that's realistic or that's in front of you, don't ever look at it as that being a point where that's going to be something that's going to be a hindrance or be negative. You're doing a smart thing. You're actually planning, right? When you look at some of these Fortune 500 corporations, the same thing they do with their research and development. They make sure they get all the information, all the facts and stuff like that, so they can make informed decisions and informed plans, right? It's the same thing that you guys got to do. It's the exact same things that you guys got to do. So I just want you to make sure that you get as much information as possible so you can make an informed decision. Again, do not get facts with being negative. Far too often people hear factual information and they look at it like, no, I'm not trying to be negative, or somebody trying to talk down to them or talk them out. No, you're being smart and doing proper planning. So you got all the information in front of you. So again, we make that informed decision. Okay. Step 2. This is where we got to sit here and just kind of start thinking a little bit. And remember, when we doing all this stuff, guys, for us setting our goals and everything like that, don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush. Now what we're going to do, we're going to set the timetables, right? List those tasks on the timetable. And what I want you guys to do, don't be so stuck on January to February when I'm getting done now. What I mean by timetable is be realistic on how long it's going to take you to roll out that particular plan. And be very honest with yourself on how long it will take you. And you need to base that on your ability and availability, right? On your ability being your money, your knowledge, the scope of people that you know that probably make things happen, and the availability that you have. If you're going to be at work all the time, you got to do stuff with your kids, you got to do stuff with yourself, you got health issues where it kind of limits you with doing certain things. All that stuff needs to be taken in account, or be accounted for all that in account rather. You want to fix this car, like, hey man, we want to do the rebuild, want to do all this kind of stuff. We know between ordering stuff, the stuff getting shipped in, our availability, which is only on the weekends. It may take us a little longer. If we got, can work during the week, we can do it. May be different. Even with the working out and losing weight, okay, I'm only 3 days to actually get a little workout in, maybe 3 days in a week, in the afternoons. Kind of, we start listening to these goals and kind of mapping it out. So we know, okay, for this thing to get implemented and put these things in place, this is going to probably be a 1 month thing. This is something that's going to probably take us 4 months. This is something that's going to take us 6 months. This is something that's going to take us a week, and then maybe in the shorter ones, like say, I want to go get my passport. You got to fill out the application, go get the docs you need for them, set your appointment, go in, right? Set it on a time frame where we say, okay, this is a 1 month task, 1 week task, 6 month task. We laying that stuff out. Remember, you have to take in account for, your ability and your availability. Your ability and availability. Guys, we're doing all this stuff. I really, really want you guys to be honest with yourselves, right? Do not get facts confused with being negative, okay? I just want you guys to think about that, okay? Let me see what we got. Got any questions? Anybody coming in? And everything. Okay. I see my sister came in. She just called. Everything cool. I'm assuming everything cool. She ain't putting that in the chat. Okay, what we got? Marie said, hello, I created a goal setting journal that I have on Amazon. Awesome. And what we got here, and I appreciate you tuning in, Marie. Let's Talk Radio. Good evening. So many people are initially pumped within weeks. The excitement falls flat. Any tips on keeping the discipline going? Let's be frank, most people have had the same goals for years. Absolutely. Well, that's the whole point of this show. And I'm glad you tuned in. Let's Talk America Radio, because again, we just went over step 2 of the implementation phase. If you follow these steps in regards to, setting your goals and getting them implemented, I promise you'll see success. Like I said, I can't say everything can happen because a lot of it is based on what you can do and what we just talked about again, the availability and the ability. But I think if you actually follow these plans, you'll see a lot. You'll see a lot of success. Marie says you are so right. It's easy to start and get off track. Absolutely. And happy New Year to you as well. What we got? Amber came in. Amber said, good evening from Connecticut. Appreciate you tuning in, Amber. Thank you all the way from Connecticut. Make sure I'm checking everything on TikTok. See if anybody else said in the comments, anything like that. Y'all bear with me. I ain't in the studio. I ain't got Lab doing his magic on the 1s and 2s for me. So your boy doing everything himself. I'm a little slow person from Atlanta. So y'all gotta bear with me. Let me see what we got. Okay. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Let's talk. If you fail the same goals year after year, it's just time to revamp. No, it's just time to listen to this show so you can get the game plan together on what you need to do. Again, the question was, if you fail the same goal, is it time to revamp? But what we just looked at in regards to that step 2 on the implementation phase, remember, we had to sit there and lay it on the timetable, not the timetable that you on the calendar, but just really deciphering in how long are those tasks going to take. Again, is that a weekly task, a monthly task, 6 month task? And then from that point, we can start scaling everything out and putting it on the on our calendar in regards to how we want to get everything mapped out from now. Okay. Now we're on the implementation phase. Tonight's show, we're talking about 2025 goals, how to reach your goals in 2025. On the implementation part, we're at step 3. Remember, guys, if you have to leave, you came in the middle of it. Remember, you can go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. You see the video in its full entirety. Goals 2025, how to reach your goals 2025. You can also go to the other YouTube channel, Change the Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. But go to Mr. Short Dollar. You can see the video in its full entirety if you have to leave or you just came in, okay? So don't trip on that. Next part of implementation phase, that is step 3, which is we want to start plotting that stuff on a board, right? Plotting stuff on the board, kind of like what we just said. We want to separate the list for yearly, monthly, and weekly, right? It's best to create a blank calendar with all your monthly tasks. So we want to sit here and we just looking at, okay, I got this blank calendar, and this is how we want to, these are the time frames. You listen it out. We broke it down, and we started to put everything down on the calendar looking, right? And it doesn't necessarily be on the February, March, whatever, but we starting to lay it out. And what reason why we're doing that is because when you start looking at the calendar, okay, what happens? Now we're looking at, okay, well, the kids out of school in the summer, or this is probably, Christmas season, my job picks up, excuse me, so my availability change. So even though this time frame, for that particular task may be a couple of weeks or a month, it probably ain't best to do it in December because that's peak season of my job. So now we're starting to kind of lay those particular tasks because we know how long it's going to take probably that task to do to get done. But we're starting to lay it out where we're looking at, okay, how does that fit into my life? Again, we're laying it out on that calendar to start, looking at how we're going to be able to, structure that within our lives. Okay. Then from that point, we go through, I'm sorry, I'm about to lose my place. Place all item on a calendar. Make sure you give yourself enough time to consume those tasks, especially ones that work longer than one day. Y'all bear with me. Got my notes everywhere over here. And then from go with step 4. And then that's what we got to have some form of accountability. We laid them out. We got it mapped out. I know when these particular tasks are going to be done. You're being realistic about what you can and can't do. You know what times of year you vacation. You know what time of year you may have to do certain stuff. So we piecing it down, right? And so, you look at it like, okay, I'm going to do this summer. I'm going to do this in the spring. It's going to take me a couple of weeks. I'm going to tackle that stuff in October. The problem comes up is you have all these New Year's resolutions, these goals, and you try to do everything in January. And that's not realistic, and that's not really intelligent to try to do either, right? So if we're going to be making changes to our lives, we're trying to make certain things, we shouldn't be trying to do all that stuff at one time. That's what, it's just something to kind of think about. Why would I make all these New Year resolutions? Why would I make all these 2025 goals and try to do all of them in January 25? Okay. We got 12 months to get all that shit done, right? So let's use those 12 months. We got to get that stuff done. From a priority standpoint, if you say, hey, look, I got to get my weight down because my blood pressure, we might have a little, we have a more of an emphasis or a priority on getting that done, but we can start laying it out. Use the calendar. Do not try to do everything at one time. Okay. Just something to kind of keep in mind. Okay. We do not have to get Rome wasn't built in one day, and you're not going to get all your stuff done in one day either. Right. We're super duper people, but we can't do magical shit. So we want to just make sure we put things in a spot where we can kind of achieve them, and not trying to dump everything on ourselves at one time. Okay, kind of keep that in mind. So step 4 is where we're gonna remember that we're humans and we want to set accountability systems in place, right? You gotta have some form of accountability. If you got like some kind of partner, a checkoff sheet or whatever, you have to make sure that you got some system in place to make sure things are done. You guys are done. You guys know I'm real big on using technology. You can get your Google calendars, reminders, things like that. There are a lot of different, groups where you can get partners and stuff in place where, hey, you checking on them, they checking on you at certain parts of the year. But you want to get something in place to remind, because you're human. You're human. You got the stuff wrote down in your face. You see it every day. You got the stuff coming in, reminding you as alerts and reminders on your phone and stuff. We want to take full advantage of everything. You may call your buddy and tell, hey man, listen, once you call me in March, you see where I'm at with this stuff, right? And get him out, and get him my tail. If you feel like, okay, I'm telling you what I'm trying to do, and I might need you to push me a little bit. Take advantage of all the different things that you can have to kind of keep you, accountable and everything. Again, you put that checkoff sheet, going through step 1, step 2, step 3, whatever, and you see it happening. You have to, your desire to want to get things accomplished have to be so great, because at the end of the day, most of the time we're trying to make changes in our lives, we ain't gonna have nobody poking us and pushing us. You got to have the discipline and the desire in place to make things happen. Far too often, people want certain things, but they want to make the sacrifice to make them happen. That's why everybody is not successful. That's why people always talk about, wealth and all this other kind of stuff. And I think a lot of that is bullshit, because what people don't take into account for, you can tell somebody, if you save this or you buy this and you do this kind of stuff, you will be wealthy. You will have this. That's true. But you're taking the human aspect of it out of it. People don't want to give up this. If you do this, you got to give up that. If If you do this, you got to put off that. If you do this, you're going to have certain things that are going to have to be skipped for a certain period of time. And everybody ain't willing to do that, right? Because most of the time, people that are pushing it, they haven't done it, right? Everybody can tell you, hey, you're going to be great. You can do this, everything. No, hell. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable to make certain things happen. Losing weight, if you want to work out and do all that stuff, it's going to be painful. If you want to save your money, it's going to be painful. Not to the point where it can be killing you or anything like that, but that's going to be sacrifices, right? Sacrifices, some kind of discomfort, right? And you have to be willing to do that. Everybody ain't willing to do that. And that's why everybody don't have the results of that. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't mean anything had to be negative, even associated with you. But at the end of it, you can't have these kind of aspirations with this kind of effort. You just can't have it. And people can tell you all this kind of stuff about what you can, being so positive and telling you everything you want to hear. But far too often, people don't want to hear honesty. That's why I told y'all, don't get honesty confused with people being negative. Me being former military, that's probably stuck in me because everybody was brutally honest. People didn't tell you, hey, it's a little messed up and you can fix it. No, they tell you it's effed up. The key thing, what I always remember in the military, people tell you something was effed up, but hey, man, let's go and fix it, right? So people give you that hard criticism, but they have to fix it at the same note. Most of the time, you got some jerks that will let you, fail and stuff like that, but that's in life. But most of the time, people say, nah, man, it's effed up, and no, it's not halfway good. It's not okay. It's not what we can deal with. The standard. The standard is the standard, right? When we got standards, hey, listen, this is what we're trying to achieve, and we can't get away from that. And at the end of the day, if this is what you're trying to achieve, nah, man, that's piss poor. You can't do that. And when you got high standards, because you want to achieve these certain kind of goals, you'll keep yourself at a certain point. That's why when we writing stuff down, we keeping ourselves accountable for certain stuff. That's why you see so many businesses fail, because people want to be here, but they got these kind of standards. So they'll spend all their money, cash out their retirement, borrow kind of money, and they have all this kind of stuff in place, but then uncomfortable stuff. I got to spend an extra amount of time training people. I got to spend an extra amount of time learning more about this particular industry or whatever. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do it. And then they lose and they close. And then next thing you know, everything's gone in a bad state. They don't want to be honest about certain stuff. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable, make changes in your life. That's just period. All of us. That's the reality of everything, because we can sit here and go over all this goal setting shit, say all these kind of different things, but at the end of the day, if you're not willing to be disciplined, if you're not willing to sacrifice, if you're not willing to put in a good effort, it just won't happen. And that's why your life will be the same way. You can see certain tracks, you can start certain movements and get certain tractions and see things start to change, but shit gonna go back. It's gonna go back. So you have to have your mind set up, I really want to do this. And I really want to do this. And that's why we're doing this stuff on the front end. The planning stuff has you step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So we know what to do. We're not just saying we want to do it. So we start, we see account some changes. And because we didn't have proper planning, then it crashes. The planning is giving us that blueprint. We can do it. But we're doing all this on the front end. And it may kind of delay some things. It may delay it because you want to get started now. But no, let me get my plan in place to make sure everything's in place. So I don't have to go back and revisit this shit. Or we start doing well, then I got to pump the brakes, and then I got to figure out this stuff. Let's get all our plans together on the front end. Is we gonna miss some things? Absolutely. Is some things we're gonna forget, or some things we didn't know about? Sure. But for the most part, if you sit there and do proper planning and take your time, you can get a lot of stuff covered, good and bad, right? And the things that you like, man, I wasn't thinking about that and stuff. Well, we're doing it, okay? So one, try to have that stuff in place, and adjust. When we start getting that accountability stuff, make sure you adjusting for your lifestyle. You change shifts. You got a new supervisor in there, not a flexible certain stuff. And they want you to stay a little later. Your child join the travel team, right? All these kind of things can happen that you didn't have any idea was going to happen, right? You got to be able to sit there and pivot and shift. Because that's life, right? Things happen, right? So we got to kind of be able to adjust certain things of our lifestyle. That don't mean quit. That does not mean quit. It just means adjust. Okay. And just keep that in mind. Pivoting, pivoting and shifting is not quitting, right? Things are gonna go wrong. We can have things that happen, but we just gotta be able to adjust everything accordingly. Okay. All right. Now we go to step 5. This is the last step. Okay, we want to make that monthly, quarterly, yearly review, right? So we sit there and we got these goals. Where we at with everything? Well, we at with everything. Well, from you got all your goals listed. So if you looking at your goals at the end of January, some of them goals you might not start in September. You didn't start in September, so you can just say that. But the ones you might start in January, where you at with everything? Do you need to roll some stuff over to February? It's bigger than what it is. Do you need to take some stuff off the list? Does it cost more than what you thought? Does it take more time than what you thought? Is a lot more intensive in regards to I might have got to bring some people in. Like I thought I could actually build this deck, but man, I might need to outsource the people. I broke all this stuff down. I don't want this stuff to look like a two-pick house or anything like that. So I might need to get some contractors in there. I tried it my way, didn't work. I've been an investor, real estate investor. I'm about to say 15, 17, 18 years. And I remember, me being Mr. Fix It, trying to fix some stuff with some toilets, laying in water and peef for damn near 10 hours trying to do it my way. And hey man, look, Pooch, you got to go get your a plumber. I tried it my way. I was like, okay, I'm finna go on and do these, got these properties together. I'm gonna do this kind of stuff. No hell. Get back on that calculator. Do what you do. Do what you do best. Now I can fix a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but that was some stuff out of my wheelhouse. And I had to be realistic. Like, look, man, you trying to save some money. You're really losing money because you're spending all this time trying to be Mr. Plumber and get his stuff done. The sad part about it, when the plumbers come, they charge out the yin yang and they in and out in about an hour. Stuff you don't took you days to do. But I'm smart enough to understand. I get that time back to make that certain amount of money. But again, when we start looking at certain things, doing that monthly, quarterly, and yearly review, where are we at with certain things in relation to where we at? Are we going in the right direction? Do we need to postpone it? You might need to roll it over the next year. So kind of looking at that, have that stuff going, okay? Remember again, I cannot stress it enough. Do not get facts confused with being negative, right? That things ain't necessarily gonna work out the way you want to work out. So it's nothing to beat yourself up about or anything like that. You just got to make sure you adjust accordingly. That's all you got to do. You want factual information, because factual information, you can make real plans about it. Words and dreams and aspirations, you can't make real plans about it because they don't have a true price. They don't have a true time frame, right? They don't have a true amount of how many people or what you got to do. Because it's just words and dreams. We actually know the exact thing. We can plan accordingly, right? So again, don't trip on that kind of stuff. You can't save for that trip or the cruise until you know exactly what it costs. You cannot talk about getting, okay, well, I want to buy this particular house. I want to wait to get a house and everything. You need to know exactly what your credit score is. You want to know what you'll get pre-approved for, so then you can look. You go looking for damn house, you see the dream house, it's $400,000, but you go to the lender, you get pre-approved for $250,000. You looking silly, your lady looking silly, your kids looking silly, because they all out there playing and stuff. The broker done told you what you're pre-approved for, and everybody just got his own, we'll talk about it. You have to find the facts. Find the facts, and then we can plan. Again, don't get facts confused with being negative. Just where you at. Being here doesn't mean you're going to be there forever, right? Being here doesn't mean you're going to be there forever. I started my tax business back in 02, 03. And I'm telling you, man, I'm flyers, sticking stuff on folks' cars, man, doing all kind of bootleg, jackleg stuff, trying to get customers and clients. And look at us, man, 23 years later, man, we're still in the game. And I just look at it. I was here. And I remember all the little smart ass comments. You got your little tag business and everybody doing taxes and all this other kind of stuff. And I stayed down. I wasn't listening to that bullshit, right? But you got to sit here and want certain stuff, right? And I ain't, that's why I say I'm not talking to you on, just some stuff I just heard or what I think. I'm telling you, it's change and success is painful. It's painful. It is painful. And if it didn't require any kind of discomfort, everybody will have it. And if you cool with being uncomfortable, you cool with getting a little pain. I ain't saying it's something you gotta be bleeding out or anything like that, but I'm just talking. I'm sure we're intelligent enough to understand where I'm coming from with it. But if you're okay with getting it with your life or your business, you'll see positive changes. Okay. Each November, I want you guys to look at what your goals you accomplished and what you did and begin to strategize for the next year. It's very important. Just kind of look at it. I try to make sure I set my the preceding year goals in November each year. Number one, assess what we had set up for the current year, and then see where we at. It's just something we're gonna be able to do in the next month and a half, and we in November each year. And if not, we can roll it over. Is it even necessary? Do it fit in regards to what direction we going or whatever? When I say we, me, whoever, those kind of things. You made that assessment with that. Again, you got 12 months out of the year. We use all 12 months, and you don't have a way of going about it. The sum of your tasks to add to each, the sum of your tasks to add up to each goal you set, right? So we do so many things in this week, so many things the next week. It should add up to the task, right? Or this month or whatever, this quarter, however you want to do it. This system done work for me for years. It done work for me for years, and I always tell people about doing it because again, you can't. I've seen far too often people try to make all their goals and everything accomplished in January, and that's not too intelligent to do it. If you give yourself the opportunity to realistically plot your goals and make adjustments, I think you can put yourself in a great position. Now, what do you guys think about that? Anybody have any questions or anything like that in regards to goals? You might be putting things out there, you haven't reached it. You got anything, any questions or anything like that? I'm looking through the different platforms. Anybody had goals that you guys set for 25 or you set for 24 that didn't happen and you trying to figure out why it didn't? You said anything for 25. You need some advice on how to make them happen. The floor is open to you guys now. Let me see. I don't see anybody got anything. I guess everybody got it going on. Let me see what we got here. Yes, everybody got it going on. So no one has any goals that they try to set or anything like nothing fell into place. So everybody's good to go. Okay. I'm assuming that. I'm trying to roll through a couple things. Like I said, again, we just released on YouTube while I'm waiting for, anybody got any questions or any comments or anything like that. We just released the January 2025 small business grant video on Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. So that's 16 different grant opportunities. I'm going to make a video, put it on TikTok and let you guys know about that. Also, guys, tax season is coming up. So we got the videos in regards to how to fill out, your 1040, your Schedule A, your Schedule B, your Schedule C, your Schedule D, and Schedule E. How to fill out a 1099, what's the W4, all kind of different information to help you through this tax season, right? Breaking down different kinds of taxes and things like that. A lot of information. You guys know I'm an accountant by profession, so a lot of information to cover answers to common questions that people have during this time of year. Okay, if you listen to my show, I don't give get rich quick information. If you do this just to play, this is a scheme. I'm a real accountant, so I ain't for taking no bullshit to kind of get you locked up and get you on the IRS and all this other kind of stuff. I'm gonna tell you the right way to do it. The right way may be the long way, but it's the right way. And that's what kept me in business all these years. And I can go to bed at night not worry about anything. And I want you guys to have the same way too. If you do or don't want it, right? Let's talk American Radio say fitness, hard for many. I think again, when we start talking about the comment is fitness, hard for many. I think the biggest thing is, number one, if you make everything incremental and you break it down in regards to what your goals is, be it strength, be it weight loss or whatever, break it down, then be okay with going through the pain of doing it. The pain of dieting, the pain of working out, the pain of staying on a schedule. And I think if you do that, all these things can be applicable to any kind of situation, right? Like I said, to your business, to your life or whatever. You have to be okay with change and doing things right. If you're not, it's going to be tough. It's going to be real damn tough. It's going to be tough. And I can't be honest with you guys enough about that. You have to be okay with having certain changes in your life. And if you can handle that, I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay. Let me see if I got any other questions. I appreciate that question too. Let me see if I got anything. else. Anything was on Instagram. Okay. So I guess everybody good to go. Well, listen, man, again, I want to tell you all from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all the love and support we got from Mr. Short Dollar and Change Your Lives this past year. We got a lot of great information for you guys. I said the book was Short Dollars and Cents were going to be out sooner, but it'll be out probably the next 30 days. I'm just letting you guys know that. Remember the ebook on 5 questions to ask yourself before you start a business. I'm going to get a PDF version. I had the e version and stuff like that, but I got to figure that out because I think I know that caused a lot of hangups in regards from a delivery standpoint to people. People want to buy it, but everybody have a damn Kindle with doing it. So I'm gonna fix that. But I appreciate the support, even you guys attempting to do it. But I'm gonna get that squared away. But also the book, Short Dollars and Cents, is gonna be out soon. We'll get ready cranked up. We just probably we've done the last little bit of hiring for preparers for tax season. I know everybody got their login information and passwords and some tutorials. So we heading in the right directions. You know, everything will start getting hot by the end of the month as far as folks getting taxes and stuff done. We even had the preparers ready. So that's what phase we've been in with that and everything. So let me see what we got here. People should recall the why. Yeah, well, I think, the question is people should recall the why. I think a lot of times people know the why, and a lot of times they don't know the how, but it's the pain. The pain. I'm so serious of that. People can see that and say, look, I need to lose this weight for my health. I need to save this money to keep me, afloat or whatever. But people don't necessarily, if that pain of doing it, that discomfort of doing it. That's just the difference. That separate a lot of people, a lot of stuff, depending on what they want to do. You want to take your business next level? Okay, you need to go to these seminars. You need to pay for this coaching. You need to go do these particular things. You need to start robbing Peter to pay Paul, to lower your debt, to go meet with some lenders, to get to be able to get a loan. You're going to have to do some things differently. If you just think that you can go get you a LLC, a business license, a tax ID number, and just post on social media, this is what we do, you may get some traction. I'm not even gonna argue that. But are you gonna be able to sustain yourself? Hell no. Hell no. Some people get lucky, but don't get, things that are what's the word? Kind of, I won't say odd, but things that kind of like, just hardly happen, confused with something being normal. For the most part, guys, it's going to take a whole lot of planning, a whole lot of sacrificing for you to be successful in business, right? So I'm just saying, and that's where a lot of the bulk of the things we talk about on Mr. Short Dollar about is really just being strategic and getting the right plan in place for your stuff. Okay, Marie says, my goal is to get my journals out. I have created a couple of journals and notebooks. That's awesome, Marie, but make sure you get a plan in place from an advertising standpoint, marketing standpoint. Make sure you got all that stuff in place. Don't focus so much on creating products. You got the products, right? You got product. Yeah, I see journals and notebooks. Make sure you got a good marketing plan and make sure you got a good advertising plan. Because it's one thing to have the product. It's another thing to be able to get it in people's hands. And if you just go off posting, sometimes the posting is really just going to go as far as the people that or even a little bit further the people they know, right? And then when we advertise, we got to advertise to people that's going to buy our stuff. So we market it to find out who's going to buy it, because everybody want to buy shit, and we don't need to spend time trying to call people that don't really want to support us, right? We don't need to waste time because we can't get time back once it's spent. And then using the right channel to get to them. The channel being if it's the internet, if it's radio, if it's TV and all that kind of stuff. So that's the biggest thing. And Marie says that's the hard part. The marketing plan, take your time. Take your time. Remember, the concept with marketing is what? Understanding who wants your stuff. Don't try to push the thing that you're trying to do on everybody. Who wants it? And then once you figure out who wants it, the advertising piece is how to get it to them. Okay? Look at it from that perspective. Let's talk about radio, social media traction, and necessary success or results. Again, what the company is, social media traction isn't necessarily success or results. It just depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get popularity, you're trying to get customers or whatever, That's why the marketing and the advertising plan is so, so important, right? A lot of people really just don't look at it like that. I'm going to make stuff, I'm going to cook and do this kind of stuff, and people are going to come. I think a neat thing that people done, they get people to these influencers on TikTok and Instagram. They'll had the restaurant. They'll pay them. Ooh, child! I just went to this place in downtown Atlanta. You guys need to try it and all that kind of stuff. I thought that's pretty clever. We're doing it. I think it's cool, and I think it's a good way to do it. To get it, but also kind of keep in mind when we start that channel, depending on what you need to do, who you trying to get to. Are the people that's on TikTok? Is that going to be the demographic of the people that wants to come to you? Sometimes it is, sometimes it ain't. If your place is family oriented, the club is a bar and grill and stuff, we're doing that again. And that's a good, if it falls in line with that particular platform to go on TikTok, boom. If it's something that more on Facebook, we're doing it. It's something more on YouTube. Again, having the marketing plan together. Marketing being who you're going to get, who wants your product, right? What color are they? What age they are? How much money they make? Where they live, and all that kind of stuff. And then choosing the right channel, being the advertising to get everything to them. Okay. All right. Great point. Thanks for sharing the tips. Let's Talk America Radio. Anytime. My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. I guess let me see if we got anybody else got any comments or questions, anything like that. I hope everybody's get ready to knock out 2025. We're gonna have a very, very successful. We poked their eyes out in 2024. And I just want everybody to be going in the same direction. Make sure that you're doing all the uncomfortable stuff to put you in a good spot, right? Ain't nobody love making money more than Deonte Burden. Ain't nobody like having fun more than Deonte Burden. So I just want you guys to understand, just look, take your time, plan. We don't want to go have 5 steps. We want to start at 1 and then go to 5. We got to keep starting now and then go to 5, and then we got to start over. And then we got 1, 2, and then we jump to 5, then we got to start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Be patient. Right? You ain't been rich your whole life. You ain't gonna do it overnight. Okay, but I want everybody to be super successful in whatever endeavor you do. Man. So again, thanks for all the love and support. I appreciate everybody tuning in. If you came in the middle of the show, wondering what the hell we're talking about, go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Again, it's Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. You can check out this video in its full entirety. How to set your goals for 2025. Goal setting 2025. How to set your goals 2025. Go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube or Change the Life Host by Deonte Burden. Check out the videos in their full entirety. Look, guys, I want to tell you all, I love you all. I appreciate all the love and support. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Again, make sure you go check out that the January 2025 Small Business Grant video. 16 different grant opportunities for you guys to take advantage of. Y'all take care. Love you all. Peace. Be safe. And I'll talk with you soon.